step back. He scored 29. The Knicks take the lead by 3. Next, a Knicks possession. It's Brunson again.
Yes, the burner. That's when he starts feeling it. Blows kisses to the crowd. There were some Knicks fans in Boston too, Greeny.
Knicks are up by 6. A minute to go now. Celtics down a deuce. That's Drew Holiday. Ties the game at 100. Sets it up for this moment. 5 seconds left on the clock. Tied at 100. Knicks on the road with a chance to steal game 1. And they get a pretty good shot at it.
What a great play. A great pass and cut by Brunson. He always hits these. Look at his face. All right, sometimes you just got to laugh it off.
Take another look. It's there to be had over the extended fingers of Horford. Instead, we're going to overtime. 3.5 minutes in the extra session. We're still tied at 100. And it's Hart, and it's Anunoby, and the Knicks have a 3-point lead after the foul shot.
Yeah, Anunoby was fantastic in this game at both ends of the floor. That was a tough finish.
Again, he had 29. Here's Jaylen Brown. Remember I said he was 1 of 10? That's the one. That cut it to a 3-point Knick lead. Last chance Boston. Celtics inbounding. 3 seconds on the clock in overtime. Down by 3. What kind of look are they going to get? Answer, none. Mikal Bridges rips it away from Brown, and that's how it ends. The Knicks absolutely steal one on the road in Boston to take home court advantage. And let me put into perspective the numbers. The Celtics shot an NBA record, postseason record, 60 threes. They missed 45 of them, also a postseason record. Every Celtic player that took a 3 missed multiple threes. Here are Tatum and Brown after the game.
It felt like tonight they were kind of daring us to shoot. Like they wanted us to shoot those shots. And we didn't make them tonight. But I felt like we had a ton of good looks. You know, some maybe we forced up and we settled for sure. And we'll look at those and be better at those. But, you know, that's an abnormal game for us in terms of shooting the basketball.
Obviously, in hindsight, you know, if we could go back, we probably would drive the ball a little bit more because we missed a lot of shots tonight. But, you know, there's a balance. Sometimes, you know, some make or miss lead. And then there's sometimes where, you know, you can get a better shot.
Okay, put your feet up. We got a lot to say and plenty of time to say it. Winman, you were in the building. We'll start with you. What's the #1 takeaway from a night where the Celtics took 60 threes and those turned into 45 points?
Well, I've been to Celtics games in the past, Greeny, even playoff games where they've had bad shooting nights and they've kind of been a little defiant. They've said, this is our process, this is how we've won, and a lot of times they have a point. It may not have sounded like this, but this was them being a little conciliatory, admitting, man, maybe we shouldn't have taken this many. And look, of these 63s, 45 of them by ESPN tracking were deemed as uncontested. So when they say that they were open, they aren't wrong. The problem is twofold here. One, when they were missing them and the Knicks were making the comeback, the Celtics didn't do anything to stop the bleeding. And secondly, repeatedly, Greeny, the Celtics would run good offense and get an advantageous matchup, whether it was Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown on a smaller or slower defender. And time after time after time, they would bail the Knicks out by taking a contested shot. But let me just say one thing before we move off the Celtics. The Knicks spent a ton of assets and money to get OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. They did that for games exactly like this. And down the stretch of this game, the Knicks wings were better than the Celtics wings. And that is one of the big reasons why the Knicks are up 1-0 in this series.
Let me give that stat that Wendy just touched on. Let me let it really sink in here. Can we put up A17, Matt? 45 of the Celtics' three-point attempts were uncontested. 45 were uncontested. They made 13 of those. The 32 uncontested misses are the most in a playoff game since we started tracking that, which was 11 years ago. Jay Will, your biggest takeaway?
Greeny, you know I love the details of things. I have to be honest, I've seen a lot of basketball in my life. That second half was probably the dumbest second half I've ever seen that the Celtics have played. It is 49, Greeny, of the team shot attempts in the second half. 37 of those were threes. It felt like I was watching an AAU basketball game. I'll give you another one. Into the third quarter, the last 10 possessions, 7 of the last 10 possessions in the third quarter, they did not go inside the three-point line, not inside the paint, Greeny. They didn't go inside the three-point line. Every shot was taken outside the three-point line. At some point in the game, you have to be able to get and attack the rim when you don't see the shots going. I know this is what the Celtics do, but my mind was blown away at how many times they settled and they took contested 3 after 3.
Alan, what'd you see?
It was arrogance. It's what they are. I mean, this is what they do. So they're never going to go away from it. So you look at the number of 32 missed uncontested threes. They look at that and think that's never happening again, right? That's what they believe. And so, you know, when you look at the numbers, that's the question. Is the shot selection is when they're not going down. Tatum admitted it, and so did Brown, that they settled. I don't think the Knicks wanted them to take threes. In fact, they went into the series saying you have to take away the three from this team because they've murdered the Knicks all season with the three. But half of Jaylen Brown's shots were from three. 65% of Tatum's shots were from three. Derek White, 16 of his 18 were from three. That's what they were taking in this game because that's what they were getting in their offense. They're going to keep doing this. And we're going to laugh about game one because we know more times than not, they make those threes and they beat you with it.
It was a really weird, if you didn't watch the game, it was a strange experience to watch. The first half, I didn't think the Celtics could play worse than they played in the first half, and they had a 16-point lead. Yep. I never thought the Knicks played all that well, even in the second half, except for Brunson. They managed to come all the way back and win the game in overtime on the road to steal home court advantage from a team that everyone basically gave the championship to last summer. So a weird night. Does it set any sort of tone, Wendy? I'm trying to make up my own mind whether this was, well, it's our old, is it bad sign or bad night for the Celtics last night, Winman?
Bad night, because I think you just touched on it. I don't want to take anything away from the Knicks because they took it away from the Celtics with their second half play. But in the first half, I was like, Greeny, I'm going to be home after 4 games because the Celtics played C- basketball. And as you said, we're up over 15 points. And I'm thinking, I don't think the Celtics can play worse than this. And they're not even breaking a sweat and they're way ahead. And then they push it out to 20 midway through the third quarter. So that still exists. And so many of these looks were open. But I will say this, if the Knicks have any dream of doing this, they had to get this game, especially, we didn't even mention, Kristaps Porzingis couldn't play in the second half of this game with an illness that came over him in the middle of the game. He had to walk off the court in the middle of second half warmups, so they didn't have him. And Al Horford was exhausted down the stretch of this game, had no energy left. So when you figure all that, the Knicks had to get it, and they did. And so at some point, the Knicks are going to play better than this too. So if you're a Knicks fan, you say, we've got more that we can show as well.
Yeah, according to our analytics, the Celtics win probability peaked at 98.3%. We showed you the moment the Celtics went up 20 in the third quarter. At that moment, they had a 98.3% chance to win. ESPN Bet Sportsbook had the live money line odds at that point at 25-1. You could have gotten 25-1 on the Knicks to win the game at that point. Jay Will, go.
Great. If the Celtics lose this series, it will be the biggest implosion in Celtics basketball history. I mean, if they do, I mean, to miss 45 threes, and I give the Knicks all the credit, just like Wendy said. Brunson made great shots going against Al Horford. That's the switch that they want. Mikal Bridges made great plays down the stretch. OG made big shot after big shot. Karl Anthony Towns got a huge offensive rebound down the stretch. All the credit to the Knicks, but the Celtics were up 20 points. They gave that one away by settling. Yeah, I feel like they're still a better team than the Knicks, but it takes those type of performances for the Knicks to have a shot to win this series.
Well, so yesterday, someone said, I can't remember who it was. Oh, that's right. It was me. I said yesterday to you, Winman, here's how the Knicks win. You hang in there, you make the Celtics play a close game in the fourth quarter, you hope they miss a bunch of shots, which they did, and you wait for one of them to get hurt. And Kristaps Porzingis is just gone at halftime, and that's the end of it. I don't mean that cavalierly. I'm not wishing that on anybody, but that is your one hope. The Celtics are the better team. Yep. Of that, there isn't any question. The Celtics are now 20-5 in the playoffs over the course of the last 2 years. But there is a formula for the Knicks to win here. There is a path. The Celtics have to contribute to it, and they did.
They did. Well, look, you can look at it as they gave you one game here in this series. And as Wendy mentioned, he's right. They had to win. The Knicks had to win that game because it was being given to you on a silver platter. So the fact that they won it, that's important. Now, The Knicks have to take a game in this series, and then it turns into a series that I don't think Boston was expecting, or a lot of people that were prognosticating were expecting.
I don't think the Windman was expecting it. Windy, remember he said on the show he doesn't have a hotel for Game 6. So I got Stevie's room ready for you, Windman. We're gonna get we'll get the clean sheets and everything, and Windy is gonna stay over the house for Game 6, which whenever the heck that is, the end of next week sometime. Go ahead, Windman.
Yeah, I would say that the goal for the Knicks should be to get these games to the fourth quarter. This is kind of what you say when a 15 seed is playing a 2 seed. You try to get the game. They have halves in college, but you try to get the game to the last quarter. If they get to the last quarter, they have the better finisher. Jalen Brunson had no fear last night. He had the Celtics on skates. He didn't even, by Jalen Brunson standards, even though he had, I think, 14 points in the fourth quarter in overtime, he wasn't even Brunson great last night. So I think that's their formula. Whatever it takes defensively and offensively, hand the ball to Brunson in the fourth quarter with a chance. So far, that's happened once. Knicks are 1-0.
Absolutely. Look, let's just finish. We have much, much more time to get to this. I want to get to the crazy finish out west. But the last thought I'll give on this is, and I understand the analogy, but this isn't a 15 against a 2. A 15 doesn't belong on the same court as a 2. The Knicks are an NBA team that won 50 games this season. They belong on the floor. I know you didn't mean it that way. What I'm saying is people have talked about this series like they shouldn't even bother playing it.
But because of what you saw, Boston has destroyed the Knicks over the last 2 seasons.
Well, in April, they played a 2-point game in which all of the Celtics played. The Knicks, I said it yesterday, this is a series. I'm not saying the Knicks are going to win it. It's a series. Jay, hold that thought. It'll lead off the C block at 8:30. That's a little producing. But I need to get to the West because the crazy finish there last night was exactly that. It was crazy. So you got the Nuggets, you got the Thunder, you got the 2 MVPs, right? You got Jokic, who's going to finish second, and you got SGA, who's going to finish first. Second quarter, Aaron Gordon, how about this play? Over Holmgren.
No, that is Holmgren. Like, this is not over a guy who's